Singh, Joint Managing Director, PASAP, Radha Kapoor, Do It Media, and of course, Venki Masood, CEO, KKR. Actually, last mile in the context of sport could mean multiple things. To some, it could be packed stadiums. To some, it could be viewership in double digits. To some, it could be robust and sustainable cash flow, talented bench strength, and of course, winning titles. But before we deep dive into this subject, let's look at some visible trends that our sporting industry is throwing at us. Undoubtedly, looking at the panel here, the gap between entertainment and sports as the industries is definitely coming as close as we can think of. Non-cricketing sports definitely taking center stage, and that's what is expanding the sporting ecosystem actually. Sporting businesses are building strong grassroots engagements should not be looked at from a P&L point, but valuations is what drives the sports business. But the ground reality actually is quite different, my friends. Let's look at some of the patterns that we have learned globally in terms of what actually goes into building a robust sporting franchise. The first and foremost, the business structure of the league should ensure that the entire ecosystem eventually makes money. Product consistency and the broadcast platform becomes another very important layer in the entire game. Those who have done well from a league point of view have been a great marketing stories to start with. And of course, do we have a robust fan engagement program? Because without fans, I don't think...
Just to categorize the first point, I do want to comment on that and come to the TV part. I think, look, everything is driven, at least in our society, by demand and supply and consumerism. The rest is all bullshit. Nobody is passionate. Nobody goes to see a Ranji Trophy match in Wankhede, even if Delhi is playing versus Mumbai, versus Sehwag versus Sachin. So if you put that in perspective, now I'll just put you through the acid test of the reality of the fact. So how does it work? Does India want to be a sporting nation? Yes. Do the youth of India want to play sport? Yes. Do all of us want to play sport? Yes. Do we want to be one of the finest nations driven by sports? Yes. But the fact of the matter is that it doesn't work like this in our country. So it's 50 odd federations, 49 are run by politicians. And they're all 65 plus. Game over. Now, having said that, in the recent times there have been interesting opportunities. So why did BCCI jump into IPL? Entire BCCI's valuation was hovering around somewhere from 2,000-3,000 crores. With IPL taking 15,000 crores. So BCCI backed IPL, banged it out of the park because it economically helped them. So either it's got to be economical, or you need a Nita Bhabi who emotionally says, throw some petty cash, let's launch a football league now. Bang it up. So it's either economy or it's emotions. That's the way it works. But India is poised to be a sporting nation, period. That is why kabaddi, football, all sports are going to work. League, all formats are going to work because India wants to play. India wants to play at any cost. The mistake that the government is making, the mistake that Mr. Narendra Modi is making is not realizing that and is not building an infrastructure for that. So individual corporate houses, passionate people like Abhishek, Mr. Ambani and whatnot are actually getting out there and making a difference. This is bullshit. Somebody give a DVD to our Prime Minister of a movie called Invictus, which was made on a true story of Nelson Mandela. He transformed the entire nation that was torn apart with apartheid and economic recession through rugby. He went from jail to the rugby field. It's a true story about South Africa ranked as the lowest team in the world, and that year South Africa was hosting the Rugby World Cup, and guess what? Nelson Mandela backed that team and they won that World Cup. And the whole country united. Everybody forgot about everything else. So that's the power of sport. And Nelson Mandela said, quote unquote, sports has the power to change the world. So truly speaking, I really get disturbed. We won the World Cup in Wankhede. We forgot to celebrate it because we had IPL in 6 days. Mr. Manmohan Singh would have saved his job if he took that team for 12 months and traveled the nation and celebrated the victory of the World Cup after 28 years. Are you serious? So, truly, it's economy and emotion. And I think the corporates are backing sport, the fans are backing sport, broadcasters are backing sport. So this is going to turn into a reality, and I just hope that the government does the same. Then it will be ek aur ek pyara. Right now it's just one pillar actually wanting to make it happen. Now about broadcast. I mean, the broadcasters don't have an option, to be honest. So look at kabaddi. They transformed it into a viewing sport. So broadcasters need content, period. Because that's where they're going to get the fan base from. So they're just going to make the content work, period. So there is no stopping for broadcasters backing sports, come what may.
it's kind of tough following that up, but no, just stop the coffee, that's all. Yeah, I think the greatest benefit of getting to speak last is you get to agree with everybody, and they've pretty much covered everything and said everything, and I agree with all of them. There has to be a fair mix of passion and economics, because I really do believe they go hand in hand, and if we do away with even one of them, I think the entire structure is just going to crumble. So, like I said, they've already said what I needed to say, and we should, yeah.
So Abhishek, you obviously have a humongous fan following yourself, and we all know your passion for sports and the view that you are as a sports fan. The question is, what made you invest in sport, and what about kabaddi and football